Okay, now let's move on. Come to, let's quickly look at this, page number 9, okay, stages in learning. अब जो भी कोई चीज़ सीखते हैं, we go through these 4 stages. Everything that we learn, we go through these 4 stages. The first stage is what we call unconscious incompetence. This is the stage where you don't know what you don't know. So for example, जब आपने first time अपना आपके पास मोबाइल आया, आपको ये नहीं पता था मोबाइल कैसे ऑपरेट होता है, आपको ये नहीं पता था SMS कैसे भेजी जाती है. जब first time आपके पास स्मार्टफोन आया, तो there are lots of apps and functions that you did not know. Okay, so that was the stage where you did not know what you did not know. Okay, वो stage जहाँ आपको ये नहीं मालूम कि आपको क्या नहीं मालूम है. This is where the person may start learning. Getting involved. अच्छा मुझे ये फलानी चीज़ मुझे SMS भेजना नहीं आता, यार ज़रा मुझे बताना SMS कैसे भेजते हैं. Okay, people get involved in the process of learning, and they come to the next stage which is called conscious incompetence. यहाँ पे हमें ये पता चला कि हमें क्या नहीं पता है, अब हम जानने के process के अंदर आए. जब हम उस process पे आते हैं, then we start doing it. We move to the third stage, which is conscious competence. अब हमें पता है कि मुझे क्या पता है, बट उसको मुझे करने में टेक्स सम एफर्ट. अभी मैं SMS करते हुए मैं बात करते हुए यार एक सेकंड जरा टुक बिकॉज आई एम लाइक कॉन्शियसली डूइंग इट. ओके, लेकिन हम जब करते रहते हैं प्रैक्टिस होती रहती है, उसके बाद क्या होता है कि हम एक हाथ से
बाइक चलाते
ओके बाइक आप देखते हैं सच अ डेंजरस थिंग, बट पीपल एक्चुअली डू इट. दे बिकम सो दे सेंड देयर मैसेजेस लाइक दैट. ओके, आप जब टाइपिंग करते हैं शुरू में यूं करके, उसके बाद फिर क्या होता है. ओके, आई हैव नॉट लर्न टाइपिंग येट. आई डू नॉट नो ऑल जो टाइपिंग का होता है, बट आई कैन टाइप फास्ट इनफ दैट आई कैन गेट माय थिंग्स डन. मैं इसी उंगली से ये कोने की भी की प्रेस कर रहा था, इस कोने की भी कर रहा था एट टाइम्स. ओके, बट माय फिंगर्स हैव गॉट सेट ऑन दैट. It may not be most efficient, but it works perfectly for me because I have reached in typing, and I'm sure with many things for you as well, you reach that stage which you call unconscious competence. यहाँ पे things become automatic. यहाँ पे आज आपसे कोई चीज़ पूछता है फलाना काम कैसे होता है, उसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात है, बस यूं करो हो गया. Okay, that's because things have become automatic. Now there is another stage after this, and that stage is what you call mastery. Mastery is when you can move between stage 4 and stage 3 consciously. So कोई ऐसी चीज जो कि which is not a useful thing that a person has learned unconsciously, doing it unconsciously, and has actually mastered doing it unconsciously, which is actually not a good thing. So you go to the third stage, you unlearn it and you relearn it, so do it in a different way. That's called mastery. इस program में what you're learning is you will be going through all of these exercises as you're practicing what you're learning, as you're applying what you're learning, and you're practicing what you will find is with most things you will come to the third stage, conscious competence. And as you keep on doing things, keep on applying, you will get to the fourth stage, which is unconscious incompetence. Okay? And in mastery is basically when it's like when you're coming to the master practitioner training, that's where you actually master all the practitioner material and go even further into it. Okay? Now, mind your language, page number 10. Use these words carefully. Use these words carefully. I am not saying do not use these words. All I am saying is use these words carefully. Okay, so during next 7 days, especially when you are here in class going through this training, even if you're watching on video, I want you to pay attention to your language. Okay, so कौन से words हैं? सबसे पहले हमारे पास में word है not. Later I'll tell you how to use these words, but for now, okay, when you're using these words, be very careful. So rather than saying what you don't want, say what you want people to do. ठीक, rather than, so for example, rather than saying that you परेशान नहीं होना, relax रहो. Get this? Because अभी हमने थोड़ी देर पहले बात करी, not is not processed in unconscious mind. So rather than thinking what you don't want, think what you do want. Rather than telling people what you don't want. So for example, if you have children at home, rather than telling them बाहर मत जाओ, अंदर बैठो. ठीक है? Then the word but. ये जो but word है, इसकी खूबसूरती ये है कि इससे पहले जो भी कुछ कहा गया था, when you use this, it cancels everything that was said before it. मिसाल के तौर पे तुम बहुत अच्छे आदमी हो, मगर तुम्हारा हेयर स्टाइल है ना, ओके, तुमने बड़ी अच्छी बात करी, मैं आपकी बात से एग्री करता हूँ, मगर, ओके, the moment you say मगर, but, you cancel what you just said. So what you do is instead of using the word but, use the word and, या उर्दू में और. तो आप बहुत अच्छे आदमी हैं और आप अपने हेयर स्टाइल अच्छे करेंगे तो आप और भी अच्छे लगेंगे. Okay? In addition, so you use the word or, उर्दू में या अंग्रेजी में and. Okay? I like you so much and when you do such and such thing, I like you even more. ठीक है? Then the word if. If creates doubt. अगर तुमने मेरी बात मानी, अगर तुमने मेरा कहा माना, अगर तुमने ऐसा किया तो ये हो जाएगा. There is a possibility that it's like a doubtful thing. But on the other hand, when you use the word when, जब तुम मेरी बात मानोगे तो ये होगा. Notice the difference by the way.
First में probability है और उसमें जो है
surety है. Okay? So जब आप NLP सीखेंगे, जब आप NLP की प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, जब आप इन चीजों को अप्लाई करेंगे, आपको रिजल्ट मिलेंगे. Okay? There is more surety in this. There is more power in your language. ठीक है? Then the word try. ये जो word try है, इसके अंदर built-in failure है. मैंने कल आपको फोन करने की बड़ी कोशिश करी. Means मैं कॉल नहीं कर पाया. मैंने फलाने प्रोजेक्ट में I tried to put my best foot forward. Means I did not actually put my best foot forward. I tried. Okay? So the word try इसकी बजाय use जो do form. Rather than saying आप हमारी products try करके देखें, हमारी products use कीजिए. Notice the difference? Rather than saying, आप मेरे फलाने आइडिया को जरा ट्राई करके देखें, आप फलाने आइडिया पे इस्तेमाल करें, अमल करें, देखें आप इसका फायदा.
पहले इस्तेमाल करें फिर विश्वास.
पहले इस्तेमाल करें फिर विश्वास करें. Okay? Similarly, the word should not. ये जो should word है, इसकी खूबसूरती है, it creates doubts in people. It creates resistance in people. It has built-in resistance. Notice, अभी मैं आपके सामने, I just use some examples and notice how it makes you feel internally. Okay? You should not wear these glasses. You should not sit like this in class. You should not do this with your beard in class. You should not sit with your legs crossed. You should not be looking at me like this. You should not do this. Notice, if I say you should not, it makes, internal जो चीज़ आती है, it's like, who is he to tell me? Right? It creates that resistance internally. Now imagine this, आपका कोई दोस्त आता है, आपसे कोई मशवरा मांगता है, और आप उसको 2 घंटे बैठ के समझाते हैं, देखो, I think you should do this and I think you should do that and I think you should not do this and should. And then you find your friend does not do anything you suggested. And you say, यार, मेरा टाइम क्यों ज़ाया किया खामख़ा में, जब करना अपनी मर्जी थी तो मुझसे क्यों नहीं पूछ रहा था? You've had that experience? Why did that happen? Because in your communication you were telling you should do this, you should not do that, you should. That should has built-in resistance inside. So rather than telling people what they should do, instead it's much easier, better if you tell them do this. Use the be form, the do form. Okay? Similarly, word could. These are the words that lack definiteness. Okay? If you could do that, if I would like to do that, these are like, they don't have any definiteness in them. It's much better to use I want to do this, I want that, I would like that के बजाय. I would like to make some improvements in my life, I want to make some improvements. The stronger the word, the stronger the impact on your neurology will be. Okay? Then may, might, same. Doubtful words lack definiteness. Then the word stop. When you use the word, take a pause. If you just stop and think about an apple, a red apple, and right next to it, imagine a boiled egg. Okay, notice what came to your mind. An apple, an egg, a boiled egg, right? Why? Because when I say stop, and if I do this posture, this action with this, just hold on, एक second, just stop. And then whatever I say, that's how you direct person's brain in any direction. Okay, so person is telling me about his problem and is having एक second. What's good in your life? You get this? So you stop the person and you direct him in another direction. Then the word now. This word actually orients a person into their present. It's a very, very powerful word. So for now, all I want you to do is I want you to pay attention in your language as you're using this. I want you to pay attention in your language, in your communication as you're using this. Use them carefully. The other thing, when you're communicating with other people, notice how people are using these words. Okay? Later you will learn in this course how to use these words more effectively. Now go to page number 13. NLP presuppositions or convenient beliefs of NLP. Okay? Now, जब किसी भी साइंस की, किसी भी टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर कुछ हाइपोथेसिस यूज होते हैं, कोई भी theory जो है उसके पीछे there are some founding principles. NLP की these are the founding principles. Now, we are not saying that these are true. We are not saying these are false. These are the assumptions over which the foundation of the model of NLP is based. Okay? अगर हम argument करने बैठे, we can prove every one of these as wrong. But that's not the idea. In order to become an effective practitioner of NLP or a master practitioner of NLP or a trainer of NLP, we act, we believe as if it is true. One of the things about beliefs is, if you can prove it, then it's not a belief, it's a fact. Okay? These are not to be proven or not disproved. These are to be used. Simple as that. एक simple सा is इन तमाम के ऊपर एक principle और ज़हन में रख लो. If it works, use it. If it does not, leave it. Simple as that. ठीक है? Now, let's look at these. Number one, can somebody read? I'll just explain.
The manner we do not say that these principles are true. We act as if they are. Number one, the map is not the dirt. Map of a place is only its map, not the place.
Okay.
This is to say perception is not reality.
Get this? So the map of any place is just a map. It's just a perception. Okay. First करो कि हम में से यहाँ से हर एक बैठ के मेरे ऑफिस से let's suppose एयरपोर्ट तक का एक मैप बनाता है. Okay. So is it possible कि हम में से हर एक जो रूट बनाए उसमें we leave some different landmarks. मैं एक रास्ता एक डायरेक्शन से बताऊं, कोई दूसरा दूसरी डायरेक्शन से, कोई तीसरा तीसरी डायरेक्शन. इज इट पॉसिबल कि कोई बिल्डिंग जो मैंने उसमें रखी हो आप उसको छोड़ दें, जिस जो आपने रखी हो कोई दूसरा उसको छोड़ दे? इज इट पॉसिबल? इज इट पॉसिबल कि मैप में एक आदमी कहे कि लाइक इस रोड से निकले और फिर इधर से जाए, दूसरा बोले यहाँ से निकले फिर यूं जाए? इज इट पॉसिबल? Is it also possible कि किसी के भी मैप को फॉलो करते हुए किसी में आसानी से किसी से मुश्किल से बट एयरपोर्ट तक पहुंचा जा सकता हो? Is it possible कि more than one routes can be used to get to the same place? Then whose map is right? सारा झगड़ा इसी चीज पे होता है. सारा झगड़ा इसी चीज पे. It's like in my opinion, my map is the right map, and your map is the wrong map. And as long as we stick to this idea that my map is the only map, the way that I have understood this problem, this situation is the only thing, is the only right way, we will constantly have problems, no matter which area of life we are looking into. There are always other ways of looking at the same thing, other ways of getting at the same destination. Do you get this? There is no one way or one right way of doing anything. So यहाँ हम जो बात कर रहे हैं, map is not the territory because we are all map makers. We are constantly making maps. अब अगर जैसे somebody walks into class and हम में से हर एक से पूछे क्या हुआ, we all will have different distortions, deletions and generalizations. And based on our distortions, deletions and generalizations, we will give different information to that person. Okay? None of us will be lying, everyone will be telling the truth and nothing but the truth, yet the truth that every person will say will be different. ठीक है? Because our truth is based on our perceptions of what we have distorted, deleted and generalized. ठीक है? Number 2. Yes.
People do not respond to what is happening, that is in reality, but to what they think is happening. Their perception of reality are a map of the world. Thus, by changing perception, you can change behavior.
Get this? People do not respond on the basis of what is real or what reality is, but they respond on the basis of what they think is real. Okay? Now, that means because it is all based on a person's perception, if you can change a person's perception, because हमारा जितना भी behavior है, हमारे जितने भी responses हैं, वो हमारी perception पे base कर रहा है. So अगर हमारी perception change होगी, behavior will change automatically. Does this make sense? जिंदगी में इससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि आपके साथ क्या हो रहा है, फर्क उससे पड़ता है आप क्या समझ रहे हैं. कभी ऐसा हुआ है आपके साथ कि किसी चीज को किसी दोस्त के साथ, किसी के साथ कोई मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग हुई और उसकी वजह से you got angry with that person and later आपको पता चला कि the situation was actually something different, somebody else told you कि यार उस दिन जो फलाना, for example, first कीजिए कि किसी शख्स के साथ आपकी बात हुई और उसने आपसे बड़े चिढ़कर नाराज होके गुस्से में कुछ बात करी एंड आपने कहा यार ये सब बदतमीज आदमी है, पर बाद में आपको पता चला कि जिस दिन ये हुआ था उस वक्त he had lost his job for example or something bad had happened and because of that particular incident he was in a bad frame of mind. It's not that he's a bad person, he's just was not in the right frame of mind at that time. And he's actually a very nice, loving, caring human being. Most of the time. And your perception then changes for that person. And when your perception changes for that person, your behavior towards that person changes. Hota hai aisa? Okay? And this is true for any other area of your life. जिंदगी की बहुत सी ऐसी चीजें जिनको आप अपनी जिंदगी में मेरे साथ ये खराबी हो गई, वो प्रॉब्लम हो गई, you feel it's a खराबी, you feel it's a problem because you're looking at it from that perspective of a problem. But the moment you change and you realize there is something good in it, you start feeling differently about the same issue. Okay? It's like I lost my father when I turned 18. It was like मुझे विरसे में 5 बहनें मिली थी, एक किराए का घर, okay, एक अम्मा. I could like, oh, it's a bad thing. Lekin the fact is, alhamdulillah, when I look at it today, I think that was one of the blessings. The death of my father was one of the blessings in a way for me. Allah Ta'ala, it's like biyadikal khair, uske haath mein khair hi khair. There is something good in everything that happens. Because if that particular thing had not happened, what I was able to learn, the way that I was able to develop, probably I would have never developed that. जिस वक्त मैं अपनी प्रोफेशनल जिंदगी को फिक्र कर रहा था, जिस वक्त मैं जाकर I was trying to find out ways to grow, to learn, to get job, to get into business. My friends, my same age के जो दोस्त थे, वो गली में उस वक्त क्रिकेट खेल रहे होते थे, okay? बंदर का तमाशा देख रहे होते थे. And I was like actually trying to find out, just like how I can make my life better. Okay? वो डुगडुगी पे नाच रहे होते थे. I was trying to find out how to make things better. Anything that happens in your life, it's not what happened, it's how you're looking at it. Then number 3,
people end up in problems not because they are lack of opportunities, but because their perceptions are so limited that they cannot see the opportunities around them.
okay, लोग प्रॉब्लम्स में इस वजह से नहीं फंसते हैं क्योंकि दुनिया में यहाँ पे अपॉर्चुनिटीज की कमी है. देखिए हमारे मुल्क में, इसी मुल्क में जहाँ पर लोग जॉब नहीं है, हालात ऐसे हैं, ये सारी चीजें करते रहे, इसी मुल्क में यहाँ पर आपको बेशुमार ऐसे लोग भी मिलते हैं जो इन्हीं हालात में ग्रो कर रहे हैं, थ्राइव कर रहे हैं, मुसलसल आगे बढ़ते चले जा रहे हैं अपनी जिंदगी में. हाउ कम? Because it's not कि opportunities यहाँ नहीं है, it's because their perceptions are so limited, they are unable to see all the opportunities around them. But once, it's, what I say is like we all live in our jails of our perceptions. एक तय खाना है हमारी अपनी perception का जिसके अंदर हम उससे बाहर हम देखते ही नहीं. अब मेरी तो ये इसके आगे मुझे नजर ही नहीं आ रहा है, because this is all I can see. But when we expand this, we grow to a higher level, we find there is so much. Do you understand? So limitation जो इंसान के अपनी perception के ऊपर है. आप देखिए इस मुल्क के उन छोटे छोटे गांवों से, उन छोटे छोटे इलाकों से जहां पर लोग बैठे हुए, बिजली नहीं है, पानी नहीं है, स्कूल नहीं है, आपको कितने ऐसे लोग मिलते हैं जो उन्हीं इलाकों से निकल के कुछ से कुछ बने होंगे. जबकि बड़े बड़े शहरों के अंदर रहने वाले, बड़ी बड़ी मालदार फैमिलीज के अंदर रहने वाले बच्चे कुछ नहीं कर पाते. वो शिकायत करते रहते हैं, मुझे मेरा हिस्सा ही नहीं मिला, मैं क्या करता, अब्बा ने मुझे मेरा हिस्सा ही नहीं दिया, मैं कहां से बढ़ता. How come? Because of their perceptions, the perceptual world they're operating in is very limited.
barriers को नहीं हटाते.
They are not removing those barriers, and those barriers are actually perceptual barriers, nothing else. Okay. Then number 4.
The resources one needs in order to affect change are already within them.
Every resource you need to produce any change is already within you. You are totally resourceful. Every person you work with is completely, totally resourceful. Every student I work with, every client I work with is completely and totally resourceful. My job is not to give you my resources. My job is to help you get access to your own resourcefulness. इस चीज को हम ये भी कहते हैं, like there is no such thing as an unresourceful person, it's only unresourceful states. People live in a state of mind, ज़हन की ऐसी कैफियत में वो होते हैं which is unresourceful. It's not that the person is not resourceful, it's that the state that the person living in is not resourceful. You get out of that state, you find you're able to get access to your resources. Okay, later you're going to learn how to do that. Then
the meaning of the communication is the response you get. Resistance is a result of lack of rapport.
Okay, meaning of communication is the response you get. मैं IB में था और हमें communications का business communication का कोर्स था, उसके अंदर हमें सिखाया गया communication का एक मॉडल. वो मॉडल कुछ यूँ है, जैसे in communication is a two-way process. There is a sender and there is a receiver. The sender sends the message and the receiver receives the message, and in between there are noises. And as a result of those noises, the message sent is never equals the message received. It's all crap. Because what they say is this, 50% is the responsibility of the sender and 50% is the responsibility of the receiver. Okay? Now think about this, by the way. If a person holds this idea, now I am a trainer, I am a teacher. My responsibility, 50% is to deliver this material to you. And your responsibility as a student is to receive this. Right? So in this course, if you did not receive what I am delivering, it's your problem, not mine. If I hold this idea, if I hold this thought, any teacher if he holds this thought, अब जब स्टूडेंट उसके पास आएगी, सर मुझे फलानी चीज समझ में नहीं आई, या सबको तो उस क्लास में समझ में आ गई, तुम ही नहीं समझ सके. Why? Because my job was to deliver this, and I delivered it. Right? Your job was to take it, to understand it. अगर समझ में नहीं आई, the problem is in you, not me. Very bad idea. Because neither the student nor the teacher will grow in this process. Now imagine this for a moment. If as a trainer you hold this, if as a communicator you hold this, that you are 100% responsible for your communication. I am 100% responsible for what I am delivering. Now, आपने किसी को एक चीज बताई, उसको समझ में नहीं आई, आपने उस चीज को दूसरे एग्जाम्पल के साथ दिया, उसको नहीं समझ में आया, आपने तीसरे एग्जाम्पल से दिया, उसको नहीं समझ में आया, आपने चौथे एग्जाम्पल से दिया, उसको नहीं समझ में आया, आपने पांचवें एग्जाम्पल से दिया. And in that process you learn to explain one concept in 5 different ways, who is really growing?
We ourselves as an individual.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So what we are saying is this, that the meaning of communication is the response you get. So when you say something and the other person does not understand, that means कि आपकी जो communication थी, उसका जो आपने लहजा जो इस्तेमाल किया, आपने जो अल्फाज इस्तेमाल किए, the sequence that you use for that person meant the response that he gets. So मिसाल के तौर पर देखें किसी से यार बहुत खूबसूरत टी शर्ट है, उसे यार आप मेरे पर तंज कर रहे हैं. So आपका जो अल्फाज थे, आपका जो अंदाज था, उस सुनने वाले के जहन में तंज के माने रखता था. नॉर्मल रिस्पॉन्स या आपके लिए जो ऑर्डिनरी आदमी की रिस्पॉन्स, तुम तो इस काबिल ही नहीं हो. Okay? But as an NLP practitioner, when you say something like this, you say, मेरे ख्याल से मैं अपनी बात सही से समझा नहीं पाया. Let me say it again. You know, the reason actually this color is one of my favorite colors, and I really like it. It really suits you as well, and this is the reason I'm saying it. Do you get this? You may be saying the same thing but using a slightly different version of it. Now, in that process, you will keep growing. You will keep getting better. Do you understand? So the next time when you are in a situation, जब आप किसी के साथ हो and somebody says, you're explaining something and you have this sentence coming to your mind, आप मेरी बात नहीं समझे. Stop yourself in the middle of the sentence and say, मैं शायद समझा नहीं पाया. Let me explain it in another way. Get this? Just stop yourself and say, मैं समझा नहीं पाया शायद. Let me say it. Let me explain it. Okay?
It's all about building rapport, synchronizing yourself with the other person.
Yeah, because lack, it's like resistance. If a person is resistant, that means you need to develop more trust, more feeling of trust, or what we call rapport. Okay? Then, number 6.
People work perfectly. They make the best choices available. Problems happen when people lack rapport with their own unconscious. There are no unresourceful people, only unresourceful states.
Okay? People work perfectly. They make the best choices available. Problems happen when people lack rapport with their unconscious mind. This comes directly from Milton Erickson, by the way. People end up in problems when they lose rapport with their unconscious. Like Milton Erickson about the unconscious mind, one of the things he said, treat your unconscious mind like you treat a small child. अब एक छोटा बच्चा है मिसाल के तौर पे, फर्स्ट करो बच्चा बाप से कहता है अब्बू मुझे बॉल दिला दें. बाबा कहते हैं बेटा कल दिलाएंगे. अगले दिन वो कहते हैं बाबा आपने कल कहा था बॉल. हाँ बेटा कल इंशाल्लाह. And then he says बाबा बॉल. हाँ बेटा कल करेंगे कल. And it happens. Every day it happens. And then एक दिन कोई पड़ोसी अंकल जो है बच्चे को बॉल. बच्चा क्या कहता है? अंकल अच्छे हैं अब्बू गंदे हैं. Right? Now बच्चा जो है उसको जब कोई चीज की जरूरत होती है he talks to uncle. Why?
Because वो सुनता है उसको.
Okay? And बाप का जो रैपो है उसके साथ ट्रस्ट है. And if it happens repetitively over several things, then it gets. Okay? So अब क्या हुआ? Unconscious mind इंसान का जो वो कह रहा है मिसाल के तौर पे फर्ज कीजिए वो सिगरेट पीता है या कोई काम करता है and unconscious mind says don't do this. And I said यार इतना तो चलता है. And he does it again. And conscious mind says don't do this. यार थोड़ा बहुत तो सोशलाइजेशन के लिए तो करना पड़ता है थोड़ा सा. And then the person does it again and again and it keeps it, and a time comes and it says go to him. You get this? It's like this. Now think about this. You remember that hadith. इंसान जब गुनाह करता है तो उसके दिल पर एक काला धब्बा पड़ता है. अगर वो तौबा कर लेता है खत्म हो जाता है. वो दोबारा गुनाह करता है एक धब्बा और एक वक्त आता है कि दिल काला हो जाता है. Okay? It's the same thing. It's that now he's lost rapport with that. ना वो सख्त दिल हो गया, उसको गुनाह को पता ही नहीं चलता कि वो गुनाह कर रहा है। In the same way, जब इंसान कोई काम अगर उसको करता रहे, unconscious mind first, and if a person loses that rapport, then they get into trouble. So people who will be coming to you for therapy, for sessions, for guidance, for coaching, what you will find is they have lost that rapport with their unconscious mind. Okay? And one of the things that you can do is you can help them develop connection with their own unconscious. So when you're practicing these things, what you're learning in this course, when you apply these things on yourself and you do them regularly, you will find your connection with your unconscious mind gets better. It's like, बच्चे से ठीक है खत्म हो गया था, मगर बाप जो है फिर दोबारा से ही says, मेरा बेटा आओ जानो, चलो आओ यहाँ, चलो आज आइसक्रीम खाते हैं, आओ चलो आगे करते हैं, and then बच्चा जो he gets back into. Do you understand? It's the same thing. It's not कि अगर किसी का rapport खत्म हो गया, it cannot develop. So what we are saying is people work perfectly, they make the best choices available. So one of the things that we say is that people work perfectly. There is nothing wrong with you. That's one of the things I want you to understand. This is one of the things when you're working with people, I want you to tell them this. Okay? Tell people this, and I want you to understand this. There is nothing wrong with you. You may be running some programs in your mind which are not effective. But that doesn't mean that you're wrong. It's just that you're running some wrong programs inside. Do you get this? If I were in your shoes, if I had the same set of circumstances, I would have made the same choices and I would be having exactly the same shoes that you are. Get this? You made the best set of choices that you had. Because we are constantly making choices. We are constantly making choices. We are constantly deciding what to do, what not to do, what's good, what's bad, what's okay. And when it comes to making choices, we make the best choice available to us. मसलन सुबह में जब आपने यहाँ आना था, so आपके पास you have certain set of clothes. Which one did you select? According to the occasion, you thought, okay, this would be the best clothes for me to wear. अगर first कीजिए आपने किसी की शादी में जा रहे हैं, what do? You open your wardrobe and you see which would be the best clothing for this occasion. अगर first कीजिए किसी की मैयत में जाना है, you do the same thing, right? अगर first कीजिए किसी interview में जाना है, you do the same thing. You select the one with the best dress that is for that particular occasion. So इंसान किसी भी situation में जहाँ पर भी जाता है, अब आप खाना खाने के लिए जाते हैं, you look at the menu and menu के अंदर you see which will be the best choice for you at that particular time. Whatever criteria you may have for making that choice at that time. Okay? So people make the best choices. Those choices may not always be useful choices. But still, that's the best choice the person. So sometimes people make a choice to get depressed, for example. Because that was the best choice for them. There was no other choice. To feel sad for some reason. Okay. So that's an unconscious choice. At unconscious level, people are making choices which may not be very workable choices for them, but still those are the best choices available to them at that time. In many cases, your job will be to help people have more choices. And in fact, that's one of the things that you will see. All procedures, all NLP techniques are designed to help people have more choices. And I'll give you many examples of how I have been able to help people develop more choices in their lives. We'll have questions after that, okay? So hold your question.
My question is answered.
Sorry? Answered? So if you just let me finish, you will find most of your questions will be answered. Still, if you have any questions, then you can ask me later. Now, all behavior is purposeful and thus positively intended and has value in some context. Every behavior. Now remember, these are the beliefs that we hold. And we are not saying this is true or false, but this is how we act. But even let's take an extreme example. एक शख्स